What's going on, guys? As you might be able to tell by my epic isolation playoff beard, it's like day 12 or 13 of isolation here in the UK. But on today's episode, I'm going to take you back in time, back to the blue city of Chefchaouen, Morocco, for a little bit of street and travel photography. But first, a word from today's sponsor. Binky the Rabbit. No, today's sponsor isn't Jody's Rabbit Binky. It's Squarespace.com. If you're looking for an easy way to make a professional looking website, blog, or photography portfolio, go check them out. And when you do, be sure to use the link in the description or go directly to squarespace.com/BrendanVanson for a 10% discount. Now, off to Morocco, where we arrived in Chefchaouen just after sunset, caught some rest, and we're at it in the morning. No, my white balance isn't off. It's this blue here in Chefchaouen. We are now about to wander around. Sunrise is in 15 minutes, although it's quite overcast this morning. But yeah, we're gonna wander around. And normally, when I come to places like this, I get the urge to shoot a wide angle. I want to shoot really wide because I want to capture all of this. And then I find as time goes on that my images look better and better the more narrow focused I go, down to like 50 millimeters. But on today's episode, I'm gonna at least start with the ultra wide 15 to 35 millimeter and see what we can come up with. Chefchaouen is simultaneously one of the most photogenic and difficult to photograph cities in the world. It's full of eye candy, but the blue on blue on blue makes it hard to find, well, a break from the blue. I find myself seeking any color aside from blue to use as a contrast. But that's easier said than done in a city where everything's blue. Also, drink every time I say the word blue. Blue, 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 blue. Okay, so I gave up on the 16 to 35. There's a couple photos I still want to shoot, but this morning there was just no people out at all. So all the wide shots that I wanted included just a person somewhere walking in the frame, but there was no people. So I've switched to 35. It's now a little bit busier in the day, and we'll see what happens. This is, by the way, the RF 35 millimeter f1.8. I love this lens, but I really hardly ever use it. So yeah, let's hopefully make a photo, because I think this morning probably didn't really get anything. Not only is Chef difficult because of the single color issue, but because of the lack of the people on the most picturesque streets. I find myself waiting and waiting in spots that are just missing a person, or even a cat, only to lose patience, or in this case, missing the focus, and then moving on. Don't say you have to go. And while most of the people in Chefchaouen are much more friendly with tourists than in cities like Fez and Marrakesh, the majority of them still definitely fall in the category of camera shy. And in some cases, I just turn to the cats of Chef as my subjects. When I'm out taking photos like this, I honestly have no idea if I've gotten a photo or not. So I don't know if I have gotten a good photo or not, but I guess there's probably definitely something usable in there. I've just taken an afternoon nap, and we're off again in the evening. I've switched on to the 70 to 200 f2.8 RF lens. It's kind of how I like to operate on a day where I'm shooting a travel destination, wandering around, doing street style stuff. I like to kind of start wide, narrow in to medium, and then go telephoto at the end. So we're hiking up to a viewpoint above town, and we're gonna maybe try to get a shot or two on this lens as we do it. So let's climb. Right away, I managed a photo I quite like. And then another. Then I just couldn't find anything that worked on my telephoto lens. Sometimes it can be a bit of a trap in street photography to think that you can get away with sneaking photos with a long lens. And sometimes it is true. But personally, I always feel like my best images come when I put myself into my scene. I find so much more emotion comes out of my images when I do that. Okay, hiked up to the top. Yeah, we're up here, hanging out. We made it up here pretty early. Still have some time-lapse time until sunset. And I've got the wide angle on it for now, but I think I'll also be shooting some details. I just love the details with a long lens from up here. I brought the 100 to 400 up as well. Yeah, I think that's one of the things about travel photography is you kind of have to try to shoot everything in a day. A little bit of food, a little bit of people, the streets, a big hero shot or a vista, something like this, and the details. You see a lot of times on Instagram and stuff like that, the 1 or 2 big hero photos, but those who are actually selling photos, they're selling more of the details than even the big hero shot. So that's what we're up to. Spinning all my thoughts around you. Seems you have my heart, and I'm not scared about it. Shot a photo, and I think I'm actually just gonna kind of cheat and crop it to pano. The sky was really beautiful, but I feel like the foreground, the town, is just missing a little bit. I feel like it's missing the lights. So I'm actually gonna blend 2 images. I'm gonna shoot this. I've already shot this. I'm gonna wait until the lights are on in town here. And then actually in Lightroom, actually in Photoshop, I'm gonna show you how I blend these 2 images in like 30 seconds. So waiting, taking the photo, and then I'll show you how to do that. Okay, let me jump onto my laptop now and show you quickly how I edit this photo. This is my first image. This is the one for the sky. There were some lights on in town, but this is actually the one where I thought the sky was best. You can do this with any 2 exact images from any time of the day though, but let's work on this one. In fact, let me show you the reset of the image so you can see how it was straight out of the camera. The sky is obviously really good, but the town kind of looks dull, even when I did put a pretty heavy edit on it. So let's jump back to the edited version. I think with the edits, it's pretty good, but I kind of want to push it a bit more. I just want to get more city lights into the city with the same sky. But as you can see with the second image I took about 15 minutes later, usually the sky goes pretty colorless before the city lights of a city turn on. You can see that the sky is way more muted here, even with the edit I put on it, but the lights in town look way better than the other photo, I think. So let's put the 2 together. What we're gonna do is click on one image, then hit Control or Command on a Mac, and then click on the second image. Then right click on either one of the images and go up to Edit In, Open as Layers in Photoshop. That's going to bring both images over to Photoshop and put one on top of the other as layers. Now be sure the one with the colorful sky is on top of the one with the lit city. And the next thing you do is you need to select both of the layers in the bottom right, then go up to Edit, Auto Align Layers. There shouldn't be any difference if you haven't moved your camera, but if you bumped it even a little bit, everything you mask might get fuzzy and out of focus. So this is an important step. Now go back to your layers and select only the top layer. Then below, click on the box with a circle in it to create a layer mask on that layer. Now we're going to grab the eraser tool. You can just push E. And I usually set my opacity to 50% to start, just so the change isn't like really over the top. Then, now basically what you're doing is erasing the top layer and parts where you want to reveal the lights in the bottom image. Like this. It's a pretty minor change in this particular image, but in other examples it can be really dramatic and make a huge difference. So let's keep erasing areas until we have lights where we want the lights. Then you might bump the opacity up to 100% and put even more work in on areas that you think need it. I'm actually going to cover a big chunk of town because I really want it to stand out. When you're happy with it, go up to File, Save, or hit Control S. That's going to create a new image and take you back into Lightroom where you can put the final touches on it. And I think I'm actually going to give this image a last little crop to cut out a bit of the dead space in the bottom and maybe even the top of the image. I want to clean up some of the garbage on the hillside.
that's a bit of an eye drag. I'm going to use the clone stamp to do that.
Returning from the dust.
And I'm also going to check for sensor spots. It looks like I'm pretty good there, actually. And I think that's it. I'm pretty happy with that, actually. And FYI, I don't do this hardly at all. Mostly because I'm too easily distracted and I can't sit on one photo for a long period of time. I see other things I want to take pictures of, I change my composition. So thanks for watching, and remember to head over to squarespace.com/BrendanVanson if you're looking for a place to show off your images, or maybe sell prints. And now I said I was going to only post once a week, but I'm actually going to post 2 times a week. Let's keep this thing rolling. There's lots of things we can do. So on Tuesday, I'm going to do a video talking about some productivity things you can do when you can't do photography. And hopefully I'll see you there. Peace.